A group of West Virginia fans are shining the light on their issues with West Virginia Mountaineers football, and I have an update for you on Jimbo Fisher's interest in the West Virginia job should it come open. And we'll talk about both of those in this episode, which is brought to you in part by BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino and Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner Attorneys at Law, who we're going to hear from right now. Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. Thank you for sticking around, and thank you to Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner for being a sponsor here. Welcome in to another edition of Couz's Corner. Come on in, belly yourself up to the bar. Let me pour you out a shot of top shelf college football content. If you like top shelf news and analysis on West Virginia, the Big 12, or conference realignment, this is the place for you. Now, let's get into today's show. Two topics I'm going to talk about, and both they kind of tie together. The first one, there's a group of donors and fans who are really unhappy with what's going on with West Virginia football, just as many of us are. But they have decided to shed some light on it, literally shed some light on it. What am I talking about? Well, just to give you the groundwork, there's a group called the Wolf Pack. They call themselves the Wolf Pack. It's a group of fans and donors who have gotten together and raised money, grouped their money together, and went through some crowdfunding, fundraising as well to get enough money. Their original plan was to fly an airplane in and around over and around Milan Puskar Stadium on game day with a banner behind it that said "Fire NEAL BROWN." That didn't happen. The plane flights never happened. They got canceled. They got grounded, whatever. It didn't happen. But this group did not give up. They stuck with it. They took that money, and instead, they decided to light up Morgantown with three billboards that say "Fire NEAL BROWN" on them. And I'm going to do a screen share real quick to show you what I'm talking about. This comes from the Twitter account or X account of Ears Nation, a very, very loyal Mountaineer fan who has a large following on X. I recommend you follow him if you haven't. It's at Ears, EERS Nation, all one word. He has a merch store. He sells a lot of cool West Virginia merch, West Virginia themed merch and other things. Some T-shirts. Go check that out. You can find the link to that there on his X account. But he put out this tweet. It says, "I went to bed early. I woke up to text messages with these in them. It appears the plane was grounded, but 3 billboards will be running this ad for the next month." And here's one that says "Fire NEAL BROWN." Another one in a separate location that says "Fire NEAL BROWN" with firenealbrown.org underneath it, which is the website this group called the Wolfpack started. And then there's a third one, which I won't show for you because there's some sound and I don't want to get dinged for copyright, but it also says "Fire NEAL BROWN," and it's in 3 what Mike Couz and Chris Anderson called strategic locations in and around Morgantown. And according to them, when Neal Brown and or Ren Baker drives from Cheat Lake to the stadium every morning for work, they will pass at least one, if not more, of these signs. So the message appears to be getting to the right people here, at least according to what I'm hearing. I don't know enough about the layout of Morgantown to know for sure. There are some Twitter accounts who posted the address of the billboards. But, man, these folks, I should say, may not be all guys, but these fans and donors are putting their money where their mouth is. I'm going to give you why this makes sense to a degree, and then I'm going to explain to you why it may not make sense as well and why I personally wouldn't do this. Why it may make sense is, hey, these are fans and donors who are fed up with the direction of West Virginia football, and they have a right to express their frustrations. Most of these people support the team and the program and the school during the good times. Some of them have even helped raise tens of thousands of dollars for NIL, as well as giving some of their own money. So they also have a right to express their displeasure with the team and with the program and the direction it's heading. And if they want to say they want to coach fired, then by gosh, they have a right to do it. They're frustrated. All of us fans are frustrated. Look, I'm a fan. I'm frustrated. Some changes need to be made somewhere to get this thing fixed. And it's not happening right now. And I know this is hard to be negative coming off a win, but if y'all saw the same game I did, then you know the problems hadn't been fixed. They're still there. And I'm not sure they will be or can be. But nonetheless, it makes sense why they would do it, because we're all frustrated. Now, some of the arguments as to why it don't make sense, I'm going to debunk some of them. And then there's one I'm going to make as to why I wouldn't do it. The first one, recruiting, because recruits could see this when they're traveling from the hotel they stay at over to the stadium. Okay, that's not great. I agree. But if you look at this from the perspective of these fans and donors, they're saying, okay, we might sacrifice a few recruits for 2025, but it's for the long-term benefit of the program in their minds. And also they're saying, hey, if Neal Brown, if we get our goal and get Neal Brown fired, then these recruits may not come to West Virginia anyway, so it won't matter. I think that's their rationale here. And it kind of makes sense. So I don't think the recruiting argument, to me, scaring off recruits argument doesn't hold a lot of weight. The national narrative argument that this is going to be embarrassing to the West Virginia fan base. How? It shows that we care. It shows that West Virginia fans care about their program and they will do whatever it takes to win. And they're not threatening people. They're not going after, making death threats or threatening to do bodily harm to anybody. They're not attacking Neal Brown's character. They're not attacking him as a man. They're not attacking his family, which I'll get to the family argument in a minute. It's simply saying, hey, we're not happy with the job he's done and he needs to be fired. Now, some will say that's going too far. I agree with that, but only for one reason, which I'll get to. But the argument that it ruins the national narrative, to me, doesn't hold any weight. I just don't think it shows that we care. And two, what hurts the national narrative is losing big games on national television every single time there's an opportunity. That's what hurts the national narrative for West Virginia football, not a billboard. All right. The family argument. Now, when it comes to Neal Brown seeing this, he's making $4 million a year. He's a grown-ass man. I have no issue with it. Wren Baker, have no issue with it. Same argument. Just a little bit less money. Neal Brown's wife, don't love it for her, but again, she's an adult. She's a grown woman. I'm sure she understands it comes with the territory, comes with the job. I'm sure she doesn't love it, but again, she's an adult. She can handle it, and she's benefiting from Neal Brown's large salary. What I have where my heart goes and my thoughts go is Neal Brown's children. Neal Brown's kids are probably going to see this, especially if it's up for a month, which is believed to be the case. They're likely going to see this at some point. And he's got children, some of them young, who probably don't understand a lot of the stuff going on there. All the thing they're going to see is they don't like my daddy. They want to fire my daddy from his job. Why do they not like my daddy? I'm trying to put myself in the kid's shoes here as a dad myself. They might even, they're probably going to get questions from their friends at school about it. They probably are scared they're going to have to move soon and they don't want to move. Probably won't affect their life overall long-term, but in the short term, it could be painful for the kids to have to see that, in my opinion. And that's the sole reason I personally wouldn't do this or don't approve of this. But the other arguments to me aren't that big a deal. And I'm also not, just because I wouldn't do it, I'm not going to judge or be overly critical of the people who are doing it. Yes, I disagree with it. I don't think it's the way to go. But you know what? It's their money. They can spend it however they want to. And if they support the program in great times, then they can also express their displeasure during the tough times. Now, one of the arguments about it too that I don't agree with is that it might scare off if Neal is let go, it might scare off potential future coaches. I don't buy that for a second. And here's why. If you're a coach, you're pretty confident in your abilities, I would think, if you're at that level. And B, you want to challenge. You want to challenge yourself, whether you're moving up to a higher level, whether you're going from a coordinator job to, a head coach job, whatever the case may be. You want to challenge yourself, and you think you have the ability to win. And most coaches, in my opinion, would see this as an even greater challenge and greater opportunity. And you're going to see this as a fan base that loves their program and is passionate about their program. As long as it's not death threats or personal attacks, I don't think it will scare a coach off. Not in my opinion. I don't think it would at all. Now, maybe I'm wrong. If you're a coach watching this or family of a coach, let me know in the comments. What do you think about that? And even if you're not one of those people, if you're just a fan watching this, do you think it'll scare coaches off? Speaking of coaches who might or might not be scared off from coaching at West Virginia in the future, the next segment of the show, we're going to talk about Jimbo Fisher. But before we do that, I want to go to a quick commercial break and give a shout out here to the other sponsor of the show, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. They are running a special right now where you get 150% off your first deposit. I'm sorry, 150% bonus on your first deposit with promo code YouTube150. Again, promo code YouTube150, you get 150% sign-up bonus with your first deposit and 125% bonus on your second and third deposits up to $2,000. So, for example, if you want to bet on a game, let's see, we've got Texas Tech and Iowa State. West Virginia's not playing this weekend, but we do have some other great games. One of the Big 12 games on the slate, Texas Tech at Iowa State. The spread on the game is Iowa State by 14. Yes, Iowa State's at home. Yes, Iowa State's undefeated. They're a better overall team, but I'm telling you, this Texas Tech offense, I think, will be able to score with Iowa State. And I think they will lose the game. But I do not think Iowa State wins this game by 2 touchdowns. I'm taking the points here in Texas Tech. I'm not super confident, so I'm only putting $10 on it. I'm going to place my bet. Going to confirm my bet. And we're in. So if you want to do that, again, go to BetUS, use promo code YouTube150 at checkout and take advantage of that offer today. Please do so responsibly. If you can't afford it, don't bet. And remember, you must be 18 years of age or older to play. Now, let's talk about Jimbo Fisher. I wasn't even going to bring this topic up because I thought it was premature, but I talked to a source of mine in the last couple of days who's given me some information that I thought you would find interesting, maybe important, maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, you let me know. But according to this source of mine, Jimbo Fisher would definitely be interested in coaching at West Virginia, number one. If NEAL BROWN and West Virginia part ways for whatever reason, Jimbo Fisher would be interested in the job. Highly interested, actually. I think the word they used. Now, would that be a good move for West Virginia? I don't really know yet. I haven't done enough digging into other potential candidates to really form an honest opinion. I originally said I didn't want Jimbo as a coach, but, man, I'm telling you, that national championship ring that he would have on his finger, that would carry some weight. So, but let me know what you think. But anyway, the second part of this is, could West Virginia afford Jimbo Fisher, a guy who's used to making $10, $11 million a year? The answer to that is yes, they could, because according to my source, Jimbo Fisher would coach at West Virginia for less than the $4 million a year they're paying NEAL BROWN. Why is that? Because he doesn't need the money as bad, because he's still making, 10 or 11 million a year or whatever the number is from his guaranteed contract at Texas A&M. He's getting paid $10 or $11 million, not the coach. So West Virginia, if they could agree on everything else, on, whether it be staff pay, NIL, all the other stuff that comes with the new coach, if they could agree on everything else, I don't think the money would be a problem. Now, paying NEAL BROWN's buyout might be a problem if they decide to fire him. That might be an issue. But it would help. It would really help if you only have to pay your new coach a couple $1 million a year. That frees you up another $2 million to pay off NEAL. Then you only got to come up with what? You've got to come up with more than that, obviously, but what I'm saying is $2 million a year to pay off NEAL, which means you only got to come up with another $1.5 million more. So it would make it a lot easier. So West Virginia could afford Jimbo Fisher if they decide to move on from NEAL BROWN and if they think Jimbo is the right guy for the job. What do you think? Do you think hiring Jimbo Fisher would be a good move? And what do you think about the billboards? Do you think putting up billboards that say fire NEAL BROWN is a bad idea, a good idea? Do you have an issue with it? Do you not have an issue with it? I want to know what you think. I've given you my thoughts. I want to know yours. I want to give a shout out real quick to my VIP channel members of this episode. These are people who are paid VIP members who get access to early videos, who get obviously random shout outs during videos, who get first dibs on getting their comments read during live streams. But the shout outs to this video are FSU 45, Browns and Beers, Brandon Bailey, Shannon Miller, and Timbo. Thank you all for your long time, loyal, continued support. If you want to become a member and join this group, hit the join button below or go to my channel homepage and hit join beside my profile photo. Also, want to give another shout out to my channel sponsors, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino, and Katz, Cantor, Stonestreet, and Buckner Attorneys at Law. They are personal injury and medical malpractice attorneys in West Virginia and Virginia. So if you live in Virginia as well, you can give them a call at 304-999-HURT or go to yourlawyeryourvoice.com. You can also check out this video right here in the corner of your screen. Hope the rest of your day is top shelf. And let me remind you, even though West Virginia doesn't play this week, I will always remind you to cue country roads.